Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Bunch of Nuts podcast. This is Dan here at Big Cass. This week, Ohio State, they have a tough, hard-nosed Iowa football team coming to the shoe, 3:30. Should be a good one. Honestly, probably one of the better games overall of this week.
Probably
Uh,
be the best game.
Honestly, it probably is. It's crazy. Um, in Iowa, they come in 3-1. Revamped offense? I would maybe not revamped, but it's better, I would say.
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Defense is still very stout. And it's a great test for the Buckeyes to see what they got before they go on and play Oregon.
Yeah, it screams trap. It screams a trap game. It really does. If both Ohio State and I were in the SEC, this would be ranked on ranked opponent game. I 100% believe it. The fact that Iowa's not ranked it kind of kills me right
And
now.
like Texas A&M's ranks.
Their only loss came to Iowa State on a last second field goal, who happens to be in the top 15. Granted, Kaleb Johnson has more rushing yards than Cade McNamara has, than the whole team has passing, if that tells you anything. Uh, this is Kaleb Johnson. Like if you look at Iowa, Kaleb Johnson's it. Yes, Luke Lachey, who I think should be a Buckeye, is not a Buckeye. Um, is pretty good. Their Vander Z is all right.
He's
Gil,
not
he's
bad.
okay. Uh,
Gill's
but
just another guy.
yeah.
Vandersea, he's shifty. He's like your typical, prototypical, like white receiver. That's what I would comp him to. Luche is a stud.
Yep.
He's a monster. I am shocked he doesn't have a touchdown in the year. Cade McNamara, his first game was really good, threw three touchdowns, and he has not thrown a touchdown since August. September
Yep.
was not kind to Cade. But yeah, Kaleb Johnson, dude, he's a monster. Right now, he's like a top 10 Heisman candidate,
Yeah,
which is insane.
he's averaging He's averaging 8 yards a carry.
8.4 carry, basically what Trey and Quinshawn do, but
So,
he gets more volume.
so let me tell you a cool stat that I heard, and I'm stealing this from Doug Laramise and Bill Landis from Kings of North podcast. Um, they were talking about Kaleb Johnson, and they were talking about Iowa's offense, 20 yards, 20 plus yards rushing in 2023. Iowa had 11. You know how many Kaleb Johnson has this year so far?
For
14.
14.
They had 11 all year last year. They have four. Kaleb Johnson has 14 this year. Dude's a stud. He's a great running back. I don't I don't I think it's just hearsay what he said. There ain't no way that if Ohio State offered him, he would not go to Ohio State. I don't believe that for 1 second. I think he's just saying that because he's coming back to Columbus. He's coming back to Ohio to play the Buckeyes. But Kaleb Johnson is probably the main focus for this Ohio State defense, which could be a scary thing, or it could be okay. Let's force Cade McNamara to throw the ball and beat us.
So prior to the season, one of my bold predictions was Ohio State would not give up more than 200-yard rushing individuals throughout the 12 game regular season. Cass, do you think Kaleb Johnson is the first member of this class to break 100?
Probably, I think I don't think he's going to get 100 yards this year. I mean, this week, but I do believe he has potentially to be that first person, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Because of how good he is.
I mean, I'm curious how he's going to compare to the athletes Ohio State has. I would like to think that Iowa at times will get a good push just because it's Iowa and they breed, offensive linemen.
The great thing is Tyleik Williams is back.
Yes, that's huge for a game like this.
And this game, if you get Caleb Downs running downhill towards Kaleb Johnson, it's going to be fun to watch. The
I mean,
only thing we don't want to see is Kaleb Johnson get downhill and break those runs. I don't think he's. I think he has a shot to go over 100 yards, but I don't think he's going to break huge long runs. That's where I'm at. He's I think he's definitely a solid running back. He's a Heisman candidate. Um, I just think Ohio State is that bend don't break defense, but they also are very good against the run. Now that Tyreek Williams is back, it's going to be different. It's going to be interesting to see how Jim Knowles schemes this up.
I mean, I think they should just go man on man because the
Yeah,
our secondary should have a field day with this receiving core, and then just put Sonny on Lachey, I guess.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like Sonny Styles is good in coverage. I would, I would, if you're going to run three linebackers. Bad thing is how do you? Why do you? Bad thing is the hard thing is keeping Jordan Hancock off the field. I think Jordan Hancock could cover. Honestly, as much as you know, I love Sonny Styles. You know that.
Well, yeah, the coaching staff
This,
that determination of Hancock or Lachey.
I think Hancock can cover Lachey, and honestly, I'd run Arvell Reese and Cody Simon at
I I
linebacker.
was gonna say I think maybe CJ Hicks and Simon should be the duo because I feel like Hicks gets downhill a little better.
Yeah, but who runs sideline to sideline the best? Arvell Reese.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a game flow type situation.
But
Uh,
you also got to look all all five of our all four of our DBs are well, five of them aren't afraid to hit. They're not afraid to come down and hit somebody in the run game.
yeah.
That's what I love about our DBs. I think Jim Knowles' plan is to make Cade McNamara beat us with his arm.
I mean it's a great game plan. I know Michigan fans are gonna be like, oh, what about the time? Yeah, okay, but he didn't. I mean that wasn't really Cade going off. I think that was just a series of events that led to that team up north winning that game.
That was
And
Hassan Haskins running for 5 touchdowns.
yeah, and it was also just some questionable soft play calling, it felt like.
I'm bringing that up. I thank you for bringing that up. Go ahead and keep talking. I'm going to bring that game up.
He won. Um, but Iowa, their defense, I think their defense is amazing. You weren't sold on them. I love the linebacker Higgins. I think he's a monster.
I like their front seven.
Two picks on the year. I don't think their secondary is that bad. They got the
They got
white
okay.
they got the
They got
white coat.
toasted by Troy.
Yeah, but all right. If you look, if you ever used Iowa in the EA Sports College Football 25, their defense is nasty. I'm just basing it off of that. Um, and yeah, so I'm all on the defense, man.
Cade McNamara in 2021 against Ohio State was 13 and 19, 159 yards and 1 touchdown.
Do you throw a pick too?
Yeah. Oh no, he didn't throw it. He didn't throw. It was one interception, not one touchdown. Hassan Haskins, 28 carries, 169 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and who picked him off? Bryson Shaw.
Oh God, I forgot about that. But yeah, I like Iowa's front seven. The only thing they don't do is pressure the quarterback. Their uh their DBs got burnt by Troy wide receivers. Keep in mind they don't have Cooper DeJean. However, they have been they haven't played for 2 weeks. So and they have Phil Parker, one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. So definitely a big test for Ohio State's offense. I'm not sold on their DBs. I I like their front seven though.
Now the question is, can Chip Kelly scheme up a game plan here to really, put pressure on this Iowa defense? Do you how do you see Chip Kelly attacking the Iowa defense? What would you do if you were Chip Kelly?
Ooh. I'd still try to come out and establish the run and like the first drive, I would see what I think Ohio Chip Kelly's gonna get take what the defense gives him. Like try to get that RPO. Ohio State has the best efficiency with RPOs this year, number one in the country. Um, I think since they don't put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, I still don't think that Chip Kelly is going to dial up some shots right away. Like, I think I think it's gonna be a little bit like last week where Will Howard came out guns a blazing and just throwing the ball, RPOs, just to see if Will Howard can potentially go over the top with Jeremiah Smith or Emeka Buka or Carnell Tate.
I'll tell you what I want to see. I want to see some orbit return into GH counter. It's the hottest play in football right now. Basically, they have it's like a back. They have almost like at the slot. They'll kind of motion him back and forth, and then he'll run down into the running back spot, and then you run counter from it. And it's kind of a cool little motion. I like the play. It's been very successful. I think we could potentially see that from Chip Kelly. Kind of looks very similar to what they were doing with on the Jeremiah Smith um touchdown run, except you would put like almost Trey there, I feel like. Um
How would you feel if we did that? You did the blocking schemes like that. You ran like you motioned one of the receivers and just had one of the receivers just go over the top, and you make that a read. Will Howard sees it, dials up. That's what I think Chip Kelly could do. You could do so much with that, and that's the thing. Ryan Day put 55 up on this defense a couple years ago.
that's right. And weren't we all complaining at halftime? Weren't we like,
Yeah,
yeah, I remember that.
yeah. But this is Chip Kelly. I think the blocking schemes for Ohio State. I'm interested to see how Chip Kelly does this. And Justin Fry has this offense. Obviously, this will be the biggest test for this offensive line. I think all year until we play Penn State. Oregon's got a good defense, but I think Iowa's defense is better.
No, Iowa is definitely, I feel like outside that team up north, you can make, I mean, you can make the argument though Iowa still has the better defense. The team up north has a couple dudes. Iowa as a
Just like Penn State. They have
Iowa as
Noah
a
Carter.
Iowa as a unit is just they're so cohesive. I feel like,
But
um,
obviously the weakest link is their DBs, and that's unusual to say.
yeah,
They have Castro, and Castro is pretty decent, but he also got burnt against Troy on also the game winning drive against Iowa State. He gave up a huge pass that led
yeah.
to a kickoff return. That's where I think Ohio State can exploit it, but also Iowa still had a couple weeks to prepare. I just know when you have Phil Parker, Kirk Ferentz, you know what you're going to get out of Iowa. You're going to get a physical downhill run team, and you're going to get a physical defense at the line of scrimmage. And that'll be a true testament on how tough this Ohio State team is.
I'm predicting a big game from Carnell Tate. It feels like Carnell Tate's been kind of forgotten in this offense, but he hasn't because he's been so vital in just the run game and his blocking. And I know we, really enjoyed Emeka's blocking against Michigan State. They motioned him as a lead blocker. He was throwing hands on the outside. But Carnell Tate has been consistently the best blocker. In a game like this, I think Carnell Tate, they're gonna use him obviously to block, but that's gonna open things up for him down the field. And when one DB just bites, thinking it's a run, and they're gonna have him over the top. And I think Carnell Tate is due for a big game.
I like it. I was going to say the same thing. Carnell Tate has been great on the perimeter. Um, I think Quinshawn comes out. All the talk is about how Caleb Johnson is the best running back. Blah blah blah. I feel Quinshawn is gonna, hey, don't forget about me type of thing. Um, because I I see Quinshawn and Carnell Tate being the unsung heroes of this game. I really do.
I agree.
And I think Will Howard's gonna have a big game.
No, it should be a good one. I'm really excited.
I also been hearing as much as Tegra has been playing well, Austin Satterfield's been, chomping at the bit, and he's great. He's graded out just a little bit higher than Tegra. We might in this physical matchup. I think more athletic. I think Tegra is more athletic because yeah, Tegra is that massive. I think he should be playing tackle type of thing. It's just he's been able to play guard really well. But I think Austin Serafeld is a true guard, and I think in a game like this, you may see Austin Serafeld played a little bit more, and that's what's going to help with the downhill running. And I think play action pass is really going to kill Iowa, and that's like you said, that sets up Carnell Tate so much because I mean he's like a mecca because I think all the attention is going to be drawn to Jeremiah Smith. I really do.
They can't. I don't think this offense can get one dimensional against Iowa. I think if we get into 3rd and 10, 3rd and long, I think that could be some problems. Um, I also I want to see how Will Howard this game, how he manages the pocket against a strong Big Ten defense. We saw him against Akron and Western Michigan and Marshall when blitzers came. He was just with his physical, size and strength and just ability was able to, extend plays and get. But when those margins get a little thinner against tougher competition, I want to see how he looks this weekend. I'm curious too, is he gonna make plays that game on like it's a 3rd and 5 and you gotta have the first down? Is he gonna, go head first and get that first down? I
Oh,
would
I
like
think
to
he
think
does.
yes. I'm pretty sure he is, but I just want to see it against a stronger opponent just to confirm it, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I also think 4th and 3 in our own territory, 4th and 3 or shorter. Ohio, I mean, I know we went for it 4th and 5 last week against Michigan State, but I think 4th and 3 or shorter, Ohio State's definitely going for it because I think, uh, I think Chip Kelly and Ryan Day trust this offensive line. Do you see? We haven't seen it since since we ran the T formation against Akron. Do we see Travion and Quinshawn line in the backfield together at the same time?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be on the orbital GH counter. I think if we run that, we're gonna have Trey be the guy. We're gonna have Quinshawn already in the backfield, and we're gonna have Trey motion down. If we run it, if we run it, I'll post it on Twitter. I'll go nuts. Like I think that's how we see him in the same backfield.
Yeah,
And
I.
then you could run a variation off that with Carnell.
How about an RPO on that? You do a cross, like you do
Yeah.
a cross with the two running backs.
Oh, I
Boom, slant to Jeremiah or
yeah,
Darnell Tate
yeah.
or.
It's such
But
it's
I think Will Howard had to be so quick and precise with it.
yeah. No, I like it. Um, Cass, what are your keys to the game?
Stay healthy. This is a physical game. It's going to be a physical team, and it's 3:30. Um, just do play Buckeye football. You're going to out talent them. You are going to out talent them, but stay humble up here. Be physical. Put the attack on Iowa because they're going to bring it. They're going to bring it. And but if you strike first, you'll take the gas out of them real quick.
So my keys are don't don't beat yourself this week. This is not the week to have 1,000 holding penalties or false starts. I do not want to see that this week at all. I'd be disgusted if we saw that. So that's number one. No, minimize penalties. You don't want to, cause unnecessary, um, extra like you don't want to have to go get extra yardage against this defense. You don't want to have to work harder than usual. I don't also want to get into a punting war with this team. This is the one team that, like you said, fourth and 3, 4th and 5, we should be going for it. I want Ryan Day to stick to that mentality for the bigger games because when we play Akron, we play Marshall and Michigan State, he has no problem going for it in those situations. But for some reason, I feel like every time we play like a bigger opponent, he kind of shies away from it. But that's just not our game. Like we're a dominant team. Let us go dominate. We're not a special teams team. In trying to win a game like that against a team that can actually win a game like such with their special teams is just not smart. So those are really my two keys.
Yeah, I think the I think the Buckeyes win 37-10. I do think Caleb Johnson sees the end zone, but I just don't think I don't I don't think I think Ohio State's gonna make Cade McNamara throw the ball, and he's not that good.
I got 42-7 Buckeyes. I do think Caleb Johnson will get in the end zone. Um, because I think Iowa with the bye week, the rest, they will have a very good scripted drive. They like they have to have a scripted drive.
Yep.
Or if that doesn't get them in, I think we're due for like a silly turnover. And I could see, them getting the ball inside the 10, hand off Caleb Johnson a couple times, maybe Luke Lachey touchdown. Um, just something like that. I am predicting this week. This is definitely the first October game of the year against a Big Ten team. I think it's going to be a little slower paced naturally because it's Iowa. I think this team will come about a little sluggish, unfortunately. And it's going to be hilarious because we're going to win. I'm not worried about that. I just know this is the annual like Twitter meltdown game, middle of the season.
The
Sky is
trap
fall.
game.
It's not the no, it's not a trap game because we're not going to lose. It's just it's the annual vintage.
Trap games don't you don't have to lose in trap games.
I guess. Yeah.
You just gotta look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So bold piece for me, offense. I've kind of hinted around. I think Quinshon Junkins gonna have himself a day. Couple tutties, over 100 yards. That's my bold P.
I love it. Um, moving on, we got some games to pick.
You
So,
didn't make your bold piece. That's what we're all bold piece.
oh, Bull P. Oh, well, yeah, we did keys. Bull prediction. No, Bull P. You're right. You're right. My bull prediction, I'm gonna say mm, fake punt.
I see it. I
Gonna
can
run
see it.
this is the week we're gonna run a fake punt or something. Um, that's my one bowl prediction. Other bowl prediction. I got my tight end touchdown last week. I was very happy about that. Can't use that one.
There's gonna be a pick six. I'm called a pick six.
I'm gonna say
I don't know by who, but a pick six.
Will Howard will put his body on the line to get a touchdown at least once or twice. At least once. Like we're gonna like a full extension dive or like a hurdle into the end zone or trucking someone. He's gonna do something to put his body like on the line to get a touchdown.
And I'm gonna say this as my special teams one. And you know I've been saying it all week, but I'm not saying it this week. But it's gonna be caused by this. It's gonna be caused by a great punt inside the 5. The Buckeyes will get a safety
Mm.
because Joe McGuire punts one inside the 5, and Cade McNamara gets sacked in the end zone
Or
because
a
it's going to
holding
be
or a hold I could see.
oral holding.
I like it.
Those are our 3 bull peas for each group.
I love it. So this week of college football, kind of a lame week.
Yeah, it
Some
is.
people, some people have dubbed it as the apple picking week or the pumpkin picking week. Um,
Or the wedding week.
yes, some people are dubbing it, claiming this is the week to do that. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your time, but I do think it's not a bad idea. Not to miss the games, but if you can go earlier in the morning and maybe miss kickoff at noon, it's not the worst thing to do. Um, kind of
Yeah,
a
because the big noon kickoff game is 4-0 Penn State versus 1-3 UCLA.
it's I mean I have I have like I have 5 games we can pick cast.
Go ahead and name them because they're all bad.
I mean, I'll lead off because I we always do a Friday night game. This is actually a pretty good one. Tomorrow night, Friday, 9 o'clock on Fox Sports One, Syracuse at number 25 UNLV. I got the Cuse in this one. They're gonna expose UNLV.
If UNLV had their original starting quarterback, I'd pick them in a heartbeat. But I'm
He
still
might be
standing by.
better, bro. He might be better. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, he might,
They were
but
saying,
I'm standing by my Boise State Broncos be representing the uh the Boise State Broncos representing the non-power five four. So I'm going with Syracuse as well.
I just think McCord's going to shred that defense. There's no reason why he shouldn't shred them. Um,
I have one, and I know it could replace it may replace one of your games, but it's at noon Saturday on CBS right before the Ohio State Iowa. Navy at Air Force.
oh,
Navy is 4-0. Air Force is 1-3. Navy's a 10.5 point favorite. And I hope Navy and Army go undefeated for the rest of the season and they get to the Army Navy game because America needs this. America needs this at the end of the year. Army Navy to be undefeated for the Army Navy game at the end of the year. Winner goes to the playoffs. I got Navy covering the 10.5.
but all right. Here's a problem though. Then your boys in Boise State wouldn't get in.
You know what? I would be happy.
So I love Air Force. Always wanted to be a fighter pilot. Um, and they're not as bad as that record. I actually watched some of their games. They're not that bad. This is a big game for them. 9.5 points is a lot for a rivalry, and it's at home in Colorado. They got the altitude, they got the conditioning. I got the Air Force.
Air Force. Oh, what happens if Army and Navy, hear me out, okay, go undefeated and end up playing in the American Athletic Conference Championship game? Do they just automatically say the Army Navy game is the conference championship game?
Possibly, possibly. It's I wish Air Force was in the same conference as them though. It's weird that Army Navy are in their own two little conferences and then Air Force is in their completely other. I don't know. It's weird.
I love that we picked this game too.
No, it's a great pick. I'm all for it, honestly. It's a great call, bro. Um, I got. Do we want to do Missouri at Texas A&M?
Ugh.
It's it's both ranked, but it's honestly I don't want to do that one. Um, yeah, let's skip that one, please.
That
Um,
we replaced that with the Army Air Force,
no,
the
because
Navy
Texas
Air.
A&M shouldn't be ranked, and that's no. Um, let's do this one. We got Ole Miss, number 12, Ole Missy at South Carolina, same time as the Buckeyes, 3:30 on ESPN. And the line is, hold on, where is it? Where is it? Ole Miss is minus 9.5. I am taking the points with South Carolina here. South Carolina beat the brakes off of Kentucky this year, and Kentucky beat Ole Miss. So I'm just kind of looking at that, and it's at home for South Carolina. This seems too obvious. So
Yeah, I got South Carolina covering the spread.
okay,
I don't know what was the spread again.
it was 9.
Man, the spreads are high this week.
They are. All right. Next one I got rematch of the national championship. I'm just looking at my phone. 7:30. This is on NBC. It's
Oh boy.
that team up north versus Washington. Washington is a 1.5 point favorite at home. This might be contentious. Let's embrace debate on this one.
So Washington is favored.
By 1.5 points at home.
Wasn't it 2 points?
It's 1.5 now.
That's crazy.
Number 10, Michigan is an underdog to a 3-2 Washington team that just lost to Rutgers. Why is Michigan 10?
I asked you that last week. For some reason, I know a lot of people are predicting Washington with the upset. For some reason, I think Michigan hangs on and wins this game.
I agree. Okay, it's not contentious. I agree, bro. I think they've kind of found something on offense because they're just going to play the Mickey Mouse run the ball 50 times a game strategy. And with Orgy, they have a guy with more legs now. So I don't think they have the line is, not great. So they have flaws there, but they're going to pound the rock. And the defense is legit. So I do like Michigan here, unfortunately.
Yeah, Dan's disappearing.
I dropped my hat.
It's all good. So, team up north by 1.5.
All right. We did a Friday game. We did
Nooner,
Lunar. We did a 3:30.
and we did it 7 o'clock.
And then there's one left. We have to talk about it. This one is actually a really good game. This might be the game of the week. I'm not even joking. Um,
Outside the Ohio State.
yes. And this is the true ball knowers have this game listed as the game of the week. Miami goes to California.
Game day's there. Game day.
10:30 p.m. I love Cal. Cal Twitter is the funniest thing ever. They're just really embracing like the lib being a lib and like the left and all that, and it's so funny. Just look at what they did against like Florida State. They're 3-1. They're going into Miami's going to them 5-0. Miami, a little shaky last week, but I like them to cover 10. I like them. I think they come out big.
Dan, this is because it's one of those weeks because the games are so bad that the only game we have difference is Army and Navy is our Air Force and Navy.
Oh,
Because I have Miami as well, even though I think Cal's Twitter is, like you said, is pretty funny. But the game, like I think Syracuse will beat UNLV. I think South Carolina I don't think they'll win, but I think they'll cover. I think Team Up North will win, and I think Miami will continue that undefeated streak. I think Miami and Clemson are headed to a collision course in Charlotte
I
at the end
agree.
of the year.
I agree. Clemson looks not. I mean, Clemson. Like I would like to say Clemson, Florida State. Good game on paper. When you look at the logos this year, not a good game, obviously, because Florida State is boo butt. Um, I saw. We got a minute here. Speaking of Florida State, I saw. Israel obviously had a bunch of missiles shot at them, and there was a tweet saying, "Oh, Israel has intercepted. Like there was a bunch of missiles intercepted over Israel." And some Florida State fan quote tweeted, "He's like, dang, we sent DJU to Israel." So that's all I got on the geopolitics.
Was your score 42-7 or 42-10?
42-7.
Okay.
But that's all I got for this week's episode. We'll see you, Sunday for the recap of hopefully a great Buckeye victory.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll see you at the shoe.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for everyone for listening to another episode of The Bunch of Nuts. If you see either of us at the shoe, let us know and go Bucks.
And happy anniversary to my wife, 6 years Sunday.
Aw.